Joining us now, former director of the CIA, James Woolsey. He's the chairman of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. And what a day to have you in, sir. Thank you very much. First of all, how would you characterize Iran's role in the world right now?
Sort of like Germany's in 1934 or 35.
Oh, wow.
I think they are doing everything they can to spread their empire. They are controlling the capitals of 4 neighboring states through proxies or otherwise. And they are working hard on, I think, a nuclear weapon. And I think if we have a deal with them of the sort that's been described, they'll have one within a year or so.
Chris Jansing, that's quite a statement.
It is a statement,
right out of the box there.
And for a lot of people, what's more relatable is what the White House says, which is that this is a fight against terror. This is a fight against ISIS. This is a fight against Al-Qaeda. But you actually wrote about that
Well,
earlier.
It's ISIS, too. I mean, ISIS is awful. But what they're trying to do is establish a caliphate, expand like an oil slick so they control more and more of the Middle East and scare everybody into submission as they do so. But Iran has us in its sights, as well as Israel. But one very serious problem is the existence of the phenomenon of electromagnetic pulses. So these come out of the sun from time to time and have been hitting the Earth for billions of years, and doesn't matter. But if you create one by a nuclear detonation in orbit, let's say you orbit a satellite, simple nuclear weapon, nothing complicated, and detonate it over an area, you can take out the electric grid. And the possibility of the Iranians, once they have a nuclear weapon, North Koreans could do it today, detonating one in orbit above the United States could be devastating. We've got 18 critical infrastructures in the country. The other 17 all depend on electricity. So it's not just your lights that go, it's food, it's water, it's law enforcement, it's hospitals, it's everything that runs on electricity.
So is it your view that everybody's just being naive about this?
Well, it was highly classified until a few years ago. And there is come to be some return of attention because several members of Congress, Congressman Franks, Congresswoman Clark, others, have picked it up and started forming a caucus for electromagnetic pulse and getting into it. But I've talked to several senior members of the executive branch about this, and you get a deer in the headlights look. They really don't want to be bothered. I think Congress and several governors and a number of state legislators and 1 or 2 utilities are interested in trying to do something to build resilience. You can do it.
But I mean on the whole general question of Iran building an empire.
Oh, on Iran.
I mean, is it your view that the United States is just being naive?
Well, I think it's so obvious what they're doing that you don't have to, I mean...
It sounds as though you don't think that the deal that apparently is emerging here would slow them one bit from getting a weapon.
No. We gave up on that when a year or so ago we agreed to let them enrich uranium. Because once you have an enrichment program, you're very, very far along. People think that if you enrich to 20% for medical purposes, you're only a small fraction of the way toward having a bomb. That's not true. You're about 80 to 90% of the work has been done to get you fissile material for a nuclear weapon. And once they're enriching, given they're clever folks, they hide things, they build new facilities inside mountains and so forth, they'll have a nuclear weapon within a very few years, I think, max.
Okay, on that note, James Woolsey, thank you very much for coming on board this morning. It's very good to see you.
I deliver bad news. That's what I do.
Exactly, really. We have